Welcome to the Beyond the Mat Fundraiser class. I have been excited to launch this and put this together. And so thank you for showing up here. Thank you for coming to a unique class with a focus on others, a focus on giving, where we breathe and we move on our mat for the sake of our sisters. For this class, you might need a block or a strap or something of the nature that you can find in your home if you don't have those particular yoga props. And then as you're ready, you can just come lay down. And so we're gathering this for this particular class because I've wanted to take in everything that is really being brought to light. I know that this is not something new, but this has been something going on for far too long. And I know this is just my small way of using my small sphere of influence to respond and to remind each of us to use our voices to support those whose voices are not always being heard. And so our donations today go to the Loveland Foundation, which is a foundation committed to showing up for communities of color in unique and powerful ways, with a focus on Black women and girls. And they have resources and initiatives that are collaborative and prioritize opportunity, access, validation, and healing. And so they have a therapy fund that they want to send 1,000 women, Black women and girls, through therapy this year for 4 to 8 sessions. And so I decided, let's see one woman go through full 8 sessions of therapy, and that costs $960. And so as a community, I would love to see us just come together and make that possible, because I know for me, Awaken and Free, it's been birthed out of a place of people finding healing. And I love what this organization is doing, providing access for healing for women of color who have been so oppressed and shut down and not believed for their stories for so long. And with that comes a lot of trauma, a lot of pain that needs healing. And so with that, any of my Black friends who might be joining in, I first want you to know that I am listening and learning, and I love and honor you. And if there is anything I share in class, anything that I misrepresent, I just give you permission to come and message me and let me know maybe where I've gone wrong. But with that said, as you're on your back here, I want to just start with a proverb. So just settle in any position that feels good. Maybe you're in butterfly legs, maybe your feet are wide, your knees kiss, or you're just traditional Shavasana, legs out long. Just taking in a few breaths. Coming in today with a tender, open heart to listen to what the Spirit might want to speak to you, to notice if something that you hear makes you uncomfortable, and instead of just shutting off, stay in it and peel back layers. We need to be okay to be uncomfortable, to mess up, to get things wrong, but to stay engaged in a very important issue going on. So Proverbs, it says, never walk away from someone who deserves help. Your hand is God's hand for that person. Don't send your neighbor away saying, get back with me tomorrow. I'll give it to you then. When what your neighbor needs is already in your hand. Later on in another proverb, it says, speak out on behalf of those whose voice has been passed over. Defend those who are overlooked. Stand up for the rights of the afflicted. These are very action-based things, right? Yes, we need to listen, we need to learn, we need to let our hearts break for what is going on, and then we need to use this privilege. If we are white, we need to use this privilege to speak out, to stand up, to push back, to never walk away from someone who's deserving of help. So in this class, I hope that our hearts begin to knit and see that we are united. And when we are united, what does that look like? What does that mean? What action does that require? For us to see each and every person as part of this body. And so as we begin to know better, we begin to do better. And so as you're ready, you can bring your knees into your chest. Just gently rock side to side. Just exhaling out. This isn't about making anyone feel shamed or guilted, but just genuinely seeing the circumstances of others as our own and responding. Then as you're ready, you can bring your feet to hip distance apart. Reach your arms up overhead. On your inhale, we'll lift the hips high and start to bring the palms down at your sides. As you exhale, lower the hips down, arms reach back up overhead. Deep inhale, hips lift high, palms face down. Inhale or exhale, lower back down, arms reach up overhead. Moving a few more times with your in-breath, lifting the hips, coming into bridge. Exhaling to lower the hips down, arms reaching up overhead. 3 more like that. Your next breath, just hug both knees back into your chest. Being aware of your tension today and allowing your breath to soften, to release the tension that you're holding on to. Relax the jaw, the space between your eyes. And then from here, keep your right knee hugging in. Let your left leg go out long. Really reach the left ankle, the left heel away from you. Draw the toes back towards your nose. Maybe you extend the right leg up, interlacing the hands behind the thigh. Reaching that right heel towards the ceiling. If you want a little more heat, you can hover the left ankle above the ground. Draw the navel into the spine to keep the core engaged here. Maybe you walk the hands up towards the ankles, lifting the shoulders and the back of the head off the mat. Keeping your gaze up towards the right toes, draw the shoulders away from the ears and draw them open instead of rounding in. And then if you've lifted, slowly lower back down. Lower the left ankle if you've lifted it, and then draw the right knee back into your chest. And we'll just take a spinal twist, drop the right knee over to the left side. 3 full breaths. Come out of your twist, hug the knees back into your chest. This time, keep the left knee hugging in, right leg goes out long, flexing the right foot. As you feel ready, you can extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, interlacing the hands behind the thigh, and just flexing the left foot. You can point and flex if you want to work out anything in the foot. And then again, if you want more heat today, maybe you lift the right ankle, hover off the ground. If you want more of a gentle practice, keep it lowered. And then again, if you want to take it on an inhale, start to walk the hands up towards the left ankle, hovering the shoulders and the back of the head off the mat. Draw the shoulders back, collarbones spread wide, keep the gaze up. Breathe here, draw the navel into the spine. Exhale, walk the hands back down, lower, hugging the left knee into your chest. And then scoot the hips to the left, drop the left knee to the right, spinal twist. 3 full deep breaths. Maybe just reflecting on where you see the need, where is help needed. Today, this is part of our collective response by giving to this foundation, to say if it's in our ability to give financially and say, we see women and girls deserving help. And what other ways can we have our eyes open to that need? Bringing both knees back into your chest. Just gently rock and roll forward and back a few times till you come up to seated, and then we'll just shift ourselves into table. From your table, your shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees. Just take a few breaths of movement, cat-cow, or circling the hips, wagging your tail, just working out anything here before we just press back into a child's pose. So when you're ready, find that child's pose. No rush. Once you're there, the knees can either be wide or knees together. And then just start to lengthen the side body by extending the arms forward. Maybe even lifting the palms off the ground, pressing into the fingertips. As you gently draw the shoulder blades into the socket, feel the length moving from the outer armpit all the way through the pinky edge of your hand. Maybe the forearms are slightly lifted. So more active child's pose here. Breathe into the side body. Thinking about any mindsets we need to cleanse, anything in our heart space that we're holding against anyone, that we release. And then from here, let's take that right hand and just thread it under the left side. So a little twisted child's pose. So take the right cheek to the mat. That left arm can maybe extend towards the right corner of your mat to find a little more stretch. Just find 3 slow, full breaths here. On your next exhale, you can just untwist and take the opposite side, taking the left cheek to the mat. Maybe the right fingertips move to the left corner. Slow, deep breaths. Feel it move through your body. Speaking out on behalf of those with no voice, defending all those who have been passed over. Stand up for the rights of the afflicted and the poor. This, my friends, is the heart of God. So you're ready, untwist. Coming back to neutral child's pose. And then we'll make our way to down dog. Just pedaling out your down dog for a few breaths on your own. Again, just kind of observing where the body's holding tension, where the body feels alive, awake today. And we're just going to modify a little bit of a sun A. We're going to add some little extra bits to it and move through it 3 different times. So as you're ready, we will just walk ourselves to the top of our mat, forward fold. Dangle for a few breaths this first time. We'll just go a little slower with it. Nod the head yes and no. Maybe just gently sway the upper body, keeping the hips rooted. As you're ready, just find neutral. And then we'll inhale, slowly rise all the way up to stand. Let the gaze and the arms be the last to lift. Exhale, the hands come to your heart center. Then let's interlace the hands behind the heart, or behind the back. Draw the knuckles down towards the heels. Feel the collarbones spread wide. The inner shoulder draws out to the outer shoulder. Maybe there's just a slight lift of the chin here as you open your heart. Just kind of asking that prayer, God, show me, show me my heart in all of this. Show me where you want to renew my mind, my thoughts, my actions. Draw the navel into the spine so you're not puffing out the ribs, but it's really coming from the upper body. The chest is open. And then keeping the arms as they are, we'll just take a forward fold here, letting the interlaced hands kind of draw up and overhead. Maybe you bend the left knee and just drop the left shoulder towards the left knee with interlaced hands still. Breathing deep into these spaces and then switching sides when you're ready. Every time you feel a deep sensation, just use the breath. Stay in. And then come back neutral. Just let the hands slowly come to the back of the legs and fall down. Come up halfway lift, and we'll step back to down dog. From here, shift forward, inhale to high plank. Draw the navel into the spine, hold your high plank for a moment. Feel strong and rooted, feel the back of the heart pressing up towards the ceiling. On your exhale, down dog. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, down dog. Last one, inhale, high plank. Exhale, down dog. Look at your hands, step or float to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Arms and gaze sweep high. Exhale, hands come to your heart. Let's put our weight into our right foot. So find the four corners of your feet, maybe lifting the toes up, feel the rooted foot, and then start to pick up the left knee in towards your chest. Maybe you interlace the hands around the knee and hold here. Maybe if you can reach for the big toe, you can fully extend that left leg. Holding it here. Notice if you're kind of dumping and slouching the upper body, can you feel the crown of the head reaching up? Feel the hip bones hugging center and kind of giving you a little more height. So we're not dumping down into that right foot, but we're rooted, and then we find this slight lift going up. Maybe you stay here, maybe you can twist, either taking the right hand to the left knee and twisting back, or your right hand to the pinky edge of the left foot. Maybe the left arm goes back, just 2 more breaths. Coming back center, and then let that left leg come down. Maybe shake out the right leg before we take the other side. So rooting into the left foot, lift the left toes, find the 4 corners of that foot to give yourself a solid foundation, and then as you're ready, inhale, right knee into your chest. Remember your options, interlace the hand around the knee or fully extend the leg out. Taking a big toe grab or using that strap or scarf to wrap around the sole of the foot. Again, we root into the left foot and then we rise up. Feel the energy lifting you up taller. Maybe find that twist here, reaching the left hand to the right, outside of the right knee or outside of the pinky edge of the foot. Couple breaths in your twist. Exhale, Untwist. Come out of it, shake the leg out. Arms reach up high, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Let's take a deep bend in the left knee. Left hand comes down to the ground or on your block. Right arm reaches up. Maybe the gaze follows the hand. Full breath in. Exhale. One more full deep breath in. Exhale. Switching sides, deep bend in the right knee. Right hand comes under the nose. Left arm reaches high. Maybe the gaze follows. 3 deep breaths here. And then as you're ready, come back neutral. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to down dog. So if this, again, modify this to be your own practice today. If you want a little more heat, we're going to do some knee taps in our plank. If you want to just keep shifting back on your inhale to high plank, exhale to down dog, take that. Otherwise, if you want to follow me, we'll come into high plank. And then exhale, tap the right knee to the elbow. Left, bring it back. Left knee to the elbow. Press it back, down dog. This time again, shift forward, high plank, inhale. Right knee to right elbow. Step it back. Left knee, left elbow. Step it back. Exhale, down dog. One more time like that. Right knee, inhale, high plank, right knee, right elbow. Left knee, left elbow. Exhale, down dog. Let's lift the right leg up. 3-legged down dog. Maybe you bend the knee, open the hips. Maybe come high on that left foot. Open up a little more. And then square the hips, straighten the leg. Switch sides, lifting the left leg. So you don't have to take the bend and open if that doesn't feel right. Just make it your own. Maybe move the leg around, move the ankle and the knee. And then come back center. Deep bend in the knees. Look towards the hands. Step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to mountain. Arms sweep high. Gaze follows. Exhale to your heart. This time, another little balance. We're going to take a figure 4 balance. So root into the 4 corners of your right foot. And then take that left ankle, drape it over the right knee. And then sinking back like we're sitting in chair pose, reach the arms forward, sink the hips back. Let the thighs move towards parallel with the ground. And just feel that stretch. The arms reaching forward helps balance. If you need to bring your fingertips down to the ground or your hands to prayer, take your own variation. But keep that left knee kind of moving down towards the ground to really open that hip space. 2 more breaths. And then come up out of it, stand tall, bring the left foot down, shake it out, and then root into the left foot. Drape the right ankle over the left knee. Sink back, chair pose, arms reach forward, fingertips come down or hands at heart center. A few breaths here. Breathe into those tight hips. We're making space to sit in things that are uncomfortable. To stay engaged, even when it's hard. And then straighten the legs, come back out of it. Inhale, arms sweep high. Exhale, fold. This time, take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance. So if this doesn't work for you, you can go back to where we were, where you place the right hand down and you take a deep bend in the right knee and open up. But if you want to play with a little bind, maybe you take that strap. And we're going to take the left hand and point the thumb down as you reach the left hand back. The right arm's going to reach up, turn the palm, bend the elbow and kind of reach it back behind. See if you can grab for your left hand. If you can't do that, maybe use the strap and you don't touch the hands. If you can find that little bind, take it. If this is like complicated and confusing, just stick with a fold or a bent knee fold. But we're using that to open the right shoulder up. So that little bind around the left leg helps the right shoulder open deeper. Let the crown of the head drop down. A few breaths. Release that. Let's switch sides. This time take the right hand, kind of bring it between the legs. Let the thumb point down. Left arm reaches up, turn the palm away. Reach the forearm to the low back and see if you can grab for your hand or reach for the strap to help. A deep shoulder opener here. Use the back of the arm pressing into that right thigh to help the left shoulder spiral open. Again, taking a different variation that we've already done if this is not working in your body. I want you to listen to what is good for you and what isn't. Everything I say is an option, but you are the expert in your body. And then as you're ready, release that. Stepping back to down dog. This time, shift forward, high plank. Can you let the right toes hover over the ground? So just this one leg in plank is rooted down. Doesn't have to be lifted very high, but keep the core engaged. And then right toes lift down. Left toes hover. Keep pressing the hands into the ground. Left the forearms. Hug in towards one another. Feel the weight coming out of the wrists. Lower the foot down. Press back, down dog. From here, walk the hands a little closer in your down dog. We'll take the right hand to the outside of the left ankle. Just find a down dog twist. Drawing the right shoulder to center, left shoulder draws back. Stay with your deep breath. Switching sides, take the left hand to the outside of the right ankle. Left shoulder comes center, right shoulder opens. Untwist. And if you feel comfortable in your down dog, you can stay a little bit, but I'm going to share here. So if you want to drop into child's pose or lay on your belly. I've just been sitting with a few stories lately. As I've just been listening to different friends, some Black friends share their stories and just really imagining what it's been like. And a few stories have just stuck out that have just been so heartbreaking for me and have caused me to really think, what would I do? Because I realize sometimes when we see things, if we don't have a plan of action, we can freeze in the moment. This one person was telling a story about his sister who was in a Target, a Black woman. She politely asked somebody in front of her who was really just talking out against some people really loudly to just refrain from speaking that. She just kind of gently and politely pushed back on what this person had been saying, and they turned around and just started shouting derogatory comments to this woman, just loud and aggressively coming at her. And she looked around at the other customers, and not a single person could make eye contact with her. Not a single person came to her defense, stood by her side. They all just looked away and pretended it didn't happen. And this person who I was listening to said that was actually the most hurtful part. That not a single person around her used their voice to stand up for her, to even stand next to her. And she sat in her car and just cried for 45 minutes. And I just thought, if I were in that situation, I hope that I would speak up. I hope that I would come around this woman who did not deserve that. To come back to that proverb, to not walk away from someone needing our help. I have another friend who was driving in his car with a black friend of his. And all of a sudden he noticed a police car coming up behind, and they had switched on their lights to pull him over. And the cop car got closer, and my friend the driver made eye contact with the cop. And the cop saw he was a white man, and he turned off his siren and drove off. And it's these little injustices that happen, these microaggressions that are everywhere, that when our eyes start to be open to them, it's what will we do? How will we use this white privilege that we have to stand up for our neighbors, to give voice, to know that there is something within our own hands to push back on these systems? So I was just hearing this again, and I think I want to act. I need a game plan within my own head of how I will use my privilege to push back against the injustices until they no longer exist. That our eyes would be open to when we see someone or we hear someone being treated like they don't belong, if somebody's making assumptions about who they are because of the color of their skin, that we would step in. Because I know for me, as a woman with white skin, the message that is just subconsciously being told to me is that I belong. And that I would be given the benefit of the doubt in a situation, but that is not the case for everyone. So I just ask us to sit with that, to be aware that these things happen every day. And what kind of people do we want to be known for? How do we use, if you are a person with white skin, how do you use your privilege to push back? To just stand against the injustice, to stand alongside somebody who's being treated unfairly simply because of their skin color. What is our game plan? Because when we know better, we do better, and we don't freeze in these situations. So let's hear it again. Never walk away from someone who deserves help, for your hand is God's hand for that person. Don't send your neighbor away saying, I'll get back with you tomorrow, when what we can give is with us today. When what they need is already in our hands. As you're ready, come back up. We'll lift, coming into a down dog. Let's lift the right leg up. Shift forward, bring the right knee to your nose, step the foot between the hands. Stay on the ball of the back foot, but keep the fingertips down on the ground, framing that right foot. As you inhale, just drop the hips slightly, lift the heart and the gaze. On your exhale, just straighten the front leg and fold over. We're just going to tick-tock back and forth. Inhaling to an open heart, a bent knee. Exhale, straighten the leg, fold. Inhale, heart lifts, bend the knee. Exhale, fold, straighten the leg. A few more on your own breath. Moving slow, ride the full inhale. Release the whole exhale, letting your breath move you through the movements. Just moving things out so we don't stay stuck. And then as you're ready, come back to the fingertips into that runner's lunge. We're just going to bump the back foot up a foot or so. Then walk the right foot out to the right, left foot out to the left. We'll come all the way up to stand, straighten your right leg. bring your hands to your hips. So keep the hips squared to the front of the mat. So your feet are more on train tracks, not on a tightrope. From here, we'll just hinge forward, let your upper body come to parallel with the top of the mat. Sorry, with the ground. And keep drawing the right hip back, left hip forward. And then as you're ready, you can fold all the way into pyramid. Maybe you use that block under your hands. There can be a micro bend in that right knee. You're not locking it out here. But just folding deeply into this pyramid pose. Letting the head drop down, humbling ourselves, just going inward. As you're ready, we'll take the left hand, keep the legs as they are, we'll take the left hand to the outside of the right foot, maybe on a block or on your fingertips. Place the right hand to your low back so that you keep your hips neutral. From here, starting from the mid-back, start to just spiral the right shoulder up, twisting from mid-back and upper back into a twisted pyramid. You can keep the hand to the low back or you can extend the right arm up. Deep breaths. Just noticing what's coming up for you. Notice any pushback you're feeling in your spirit. Notice any thoughts that you're having, situations that come to mind. And then as you're ready, we'll untwist. And then keep from the legs here, we're going to just kind of start to pivot ourselves towards the right. So your legs are going to stay as wide as they are, but you're pivoting, so your legs are going to kind of scissor. You're going to come to the pinky edge of both feet. So the fingertips are on the ground. We're just going to take a few breaths here in this little scissor posture in a wide A. So you can be up on the fingertips if that helps. Again, if anything ever feels too deep or too much, it's not working, permission to come out. But we learn to embrace what's uncomfortable and find our breath in it and find our way through it. As you're ready, we'll twist back over to the left and then come back all the way to the left side of your mat in a wide A fold. So come up halfway, lift in your wide A. This time, no more crossing the legs. Now your feet are parallel. And you can fold it out. Any position with your arms that feels good. Just take 3 deep breaths in a wide A fold. And then coming up halfway lift, we're now just going to pivot to the back of our mat. So now the left foot will be in front. Coming into that runner's lunge with the fingertips down on the ground, come to the ball of your right foot, the back foot. We'll start with that tick-tock motion again. Inhale, bend the knee, look forward, gaze, heart forward. Exhale to fold over the left leg. Straighten it out. Moving at your breath pace, inhale to runner's lunge. Exhale, fold. Not rushing your breath. Maybe going even a little deeper in your breath. Where do you feel it in your body? And then coming back to neutral as you're ready, finding that runner's lunge, we're going to bump the right foot up about a foot or so. Right foot moves out to the right side, left foot out to the left. Straighten the left leg. Bring your hands to your hips and come up to stand. Squaring your hips to the front of the mat. Finding a slight bend in the left knee so you're not locking it out. Then slowly start to hinge forward, extending out from the hips. Finding parallel with the ground in the upper body. Keep drawing the left hip back, pressing into the pinky edge of the right foot. Fold it out completely. Then from here, coming up halfway lift, just move the right hand to the outside of the left foot. Left hand comes to your low back to keep it neutral as you slowly start to open the left shoulder, twisting only from the mid and upper back. You can keep the hand to the low back to keep that support, or you can slowly reach the left arm up. Last round of breath in this posture. And then as you exhale, just frame that foot again. We're going to keep turning towards the left to find that scissoring on the other side now. So the legs are crossed, keep the legs wide, and then come to the pinky edge of both feet. You can stay up on your fingertips. Just a few deep breaths here. This is some tight space. We work that IT band, the outer thigh. 2 more breaths. And then start to untwist, come back towards the right, move through that runner's lunge all the way to wide A again. Just fold it out just for another breath or 2. And then pivot yourself back to the front of the mat, coming into that runner's lunge. So now the right foot's back in front. From here, keep the left leg lifted, step up to the top of your mat, standing L. So flex the left foot. Up on the fingertips. And then we're just going to curtsy squat, bring that left knee behind the right, kind of crunch into a little ball, and then from here come to seated. We'll come to a seated spinal twist. So the left leg is underneath, the right foot is over the left thigh. You can hug the right knee in with the left arm, or you can work the elbow to the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Finding your twist. Grow tall on an inhale, then as you exhale, twist it out. Gregory Boyle says, compassion isn't just about feeling the pain of others. It's about bringing them in toward yourself. If we love what God loves, then in compassion, margins get erased. Be compassionate as God is compassionate means the dismantling of barriers that exclude. So we need action to dismantle systems, to dismantle our own biases, to be compassionate as God is compassionate. There's action required to bring people in towards ourselves by dismantling barriers. From here, we can just lean forward again, stepping up to the top of our mat, folding it out. And then let's find standing out on the other side. So fingertips coming to halfway lift, fingertips to the ground, lift the right leg up. The heels parallel with the right hip. Heart lifts and gaze is lifted here. Not dumping into the fingertips, we're light there. And then find that curtsy squat. Drop the right knee to the back of the left knee. And then lower all the way down. This time, left leg is over the right, left foot's over the left thigh. Sorry, left foot's over the right thigh. Finding a twist again. Whatever variation you took on the other side, but first find that inhale with a heart and crown of your head lifted. Exhale to twist. So to bring people in closer, we have to first create opportunities to be around people who are different, right? Maybe you already are, but if you're not, how can you create opportunities to be around diverse people? Whether it's in person, virtually, we need to expand who we read, who we're listening to, who we follow on social media, to start hearing other voices, to go beyond ourselves, to be in situations where people think and look different than us. Michelle Obama says, race and racism is a reality that so many of us grow up learning to just deal with. But if we ever hope to move past it, it can't just be on people of color to deal with it. It's up to all of us, black, white, everyone, no matter how well-meaning we think we might be, to do the honest, uncomfortable work of rooting it out. It starts with self-examination and listening to those whose lives are different from our own. It ends with justice, compassion, and empathy that manifests in our lives and on our streets. Again, we get out there and we're activating. We're examining ourselves. We're listening. And then we are moving towards an act of compassion. Coming out of your twist by just stepping into a fold. Stepping back to the top of your mat, folding it out. And then let's step back with our left leg. Drop the left knee down, uncurl the toes. We're just going to wiggle ourselves into lying pigeon. So you can take the right knee towards your right ankle. Your right knee towards your right wrist, and then move the right heel in towards your groin, or if you want it deeper, you can move that right shin towards parallel with the mat. Find your version. And then you can lay it out, folding into your lying pigeon. If this posture doesn't work for you, feel free to thread the needle on your back. I read this book, which I totally recommend. It's called Parable of the Brown Girl, The Sacred Lives of Girls of Color. And there's just so many stories of different issues that Black girls face that if you aren't Black, we don't know. We haven't experienced. But she says, the author says, to get closer to God, we must become like them, and we must tend to their needs. We owe Black girls our undivided attention. We owe them our unconditional love and understanding. My heart aches for these girls because I was once a young Black girl with the same issues as the girls in this book. I hated my hair, my skin, my body. I didn't love or like who I was on the inside or out. Like other Black women, my journey towards self-love started in adolescence and has continued in my adult years. These girls will have to start their own journeys toward unlearning life's falsehoods and distortions of who they are. And that is why supporting the Loveland Foundation, girls that have walked a path that I know personally I have no idea. I've never lived it, but I read these stories and I believe the pain. And I just want them to have access to what they need to heal. As we're ready, just walk yourself back up. Let's hinge over to your right side. Let the left leg come out long in front of you. Let the right sole of your foot come into the left inner thigh. Turn yourself over that left thigh, hands on either side of your thigh, and just fold over the leg. Next inhale, come back up. And we'll just make our way to pigeon on the other side. So if you want to just come from this posture, you can just scoot the right leg back, keep the left knee forward, or you can go into your down dog and switch it out. As you're ready, just fold into your pigeon. So maybe in reflection, we just begin to ask, maybe we're unaware of any biases within our own heart, within our actions, and we just ask this prayer, God, show me. Show me what I hold within. Show me my blind spots. Maybe we just let this proverb be our mantra. Never walk away from someone who deserves help. Your hand is God's hand for that person. Can we let that sink in? Never walk away from someone who deserves help. Your hand is God's hand for that person. As you're ready, you can press yourself back up. Shift your weight to the left side, bring the right leg forward. The right leg go out to the side as you bring the left sole of your foot into the inner thigh. Turn your upper body over that right thigh, fold it out. Again, being aware, is there any resistance within you to act? Anything that you've heard today that is rubbing up against you? If so, ask Spirit to reveal more, to show you what's behind that. Ask what moving from empathy into action looks like. What is the one next step? What is the game plan? Of moving into compassion, to God's compassion that dismantles barriers that exclude. Maybe your step is to bring more diverse voices and perspectives into your day, into your life, through things you're taking in. Think about what you will do if you see this. What will your action be when this happens? I know these are all questions I'm sitting with in my own reflection. I'm only presenting to you my own process with all of this. As you're ready, press yourself back up. We'll just make our way down onto our back. Hug your knees into your chest. Taking any final movements you need to do before we end our class in Shavasana. If you need a happy baby or a shoulder stand, any twisting, just use these next few breaths. Then as you're ready, just start making your way into Shavasana, letting your legs come out long. Just wiggling out any tension you're holding so you can fully just be at rest here, not holding on to any No gripping in the body, just fully relaxed and open to listen, to receive, to be. Again, Gregory Boyle says, only kinship, which is our connectedness and our oneness, only kinship, inching ourselves closer to creating a community of kinship such that God might recognize it. Soon we imagine with God this circle of compassion. Then we imagine no one standing outside of that circle, moving ourselves closer to the margins so that the margins themselves will be erased. We stand there with those whose dignity has been denied. We locate ourselves with the poor, with the powerless, with the voiceless. At the edges, we join the easily despised and the readily left out. We stand with the demonized so that the demonizing will stop. We situate ourselves right next to the disposable so that the day will come and we stop throwing people away. Just wanting to sit with that picture. Just because you may not have ever felt this or experienced it, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So God, break our hearts to move to compassion, to no longer be okay to just hear about these things and then let it go, but to know that this is our problem too. God, show us our own hearts. Show us where we play into any of these biases. Teach us compassion that is about dismantling barriers that exclude. Teach us how to use our voice to push back about any system that divides and separates. You can begin to move your fingers and your toes. Just drawing your knees into your chest. So you're ready, just rolling onto your side in a fetal position for a few breaths before you come up to seated. And as you make your way to seated, keeping your eyes closed, your gaze softly down. I just want to thank you for joining this class today with an open heart, with a teachable spirit. May we continue to press into the uncomfortable dialogue and take the uncomfortable action by standing on the edges with the demonized so that the demonizing stops. Full breath in. Exhale it out. So if you haven't yet and you're able to, please go to the link in the comments to make a donation, to the link, in my profile to make a donation to the Loveland Foundation. As a community, I'd love to see us supporting the healing of one Black woman or girl through therapy this year. And so if we can bring that $960 together to make that happen, that would be amazing. You can also share this class with others and share the link in your profiles as well on social media to help get more people in the know about this organization and the amazing work they do. So again, this is also the book that I referenced, The Parable of the Brown Girl. That's also just really insightful to help us better understand things that we may not know are going on every day. So yeah, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this class and your heart and your breath.